Hi friends, I'm back at class again because I want to be able to use our new map that Mrs. Snow gave us of the United States. This week we're going to read a story called Why the Owl Has Big Eyes. And the story itself is an actual Iroquois legend. Now, Iroquois means Native American tribe. It's the name of a Native American tribe that's up here on the northeast side of the United States. In New York and around one or two of the Great Lakes, the Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Now, New York is one of our 13 original colonies, so hopefully you know exactly where New York is, because that's part of the first original 13 colonies, and that's where this particular legend came from. Do you remember when we talked about legends? What exactly is a legend? So think about that. Do you remember that when we were talking about the earlier explorers of the Americas, and we talked about the Aztec people and how they were nomads that came down from the Asiatic corridor, and they came down and they had a legend. They were looking for something that would let them know that they had found the right place. And the legend was that the way they would know was they would see an eagle eating a serpent on the top of a cactus. Do you remember that? That's what a legend is. A legend is actually a traditional story that's thought to be historical, but you can't really verify whether it's true or not. So this story that we're going to read this week is a story of a legend of about how something came to be. And in this case, it's going to be how the owl and the rabbit came to be. Why the owl has big eyes. Iroquois legend from up in the New York area. There's going to be some vocabulary that we should go over for this particular story. So come with me over to the whiteboard. And hopefully you will recognize our word diagram that we've done maybe 2 or 3 of these before in class. Here's our vocabulary for this story. There are words that you might not know that aren't quite familiar with you, but I bet once we talk about them, you'll be able to learn them really quickly. There are words that are going to happen in the story that I want you to listen for, and now you'll know what they mean. First word is plume. Plume means a large, showy feather. And peacocks particularly have really long, big, fancy feathers in the back of their body, and they sometimes spread them out and show their beautiful plumes. So that's the word plume. It means a large, showy feather. The next word is forbid. Forbid means to command not to do something, to order someone not to do something. I forbid you to do this. That's saying I don't want you to do that. Next word is fled. Fled just means ran away. They ran away quickly. Ran away. And crane has a couple of different definitions, but for our purposes, it's to stretch your neck or stretch around so that you can have a better view. So you crane up and say, I can't quite see it. It's stretching for a better view. This is a diagram of the word diagram that I've put in our class stories that you're going to complete. You're going to get to choose one of these words, and you're going to do your own word diagram of one of our vocabulary words for this story this week. I chose plume. This is my example, so you can remember. I'll help you remember. We'll do a little bit of review of how we actually do this word diagram. The first box is called definition. And definition just means, what does the word mean? What's the definition of the word? And for us, plume is a large, showy feather. For the word that you choose, you're going to put your word right here in the middle, and then you're going to put the definition of your word. Okay? So for me, it's plume, a large, showy feather. The next box is called synonyms. Do you remember what synonyms are? I'm going to give you a minute. maybe you can think, maybe you can remember when we talked about synonyms and how they mean basically the same thing. It's another word for the word. A synonym is a word that means basically the same thing. So for plume, I have feather, quill, and fringe. So they're not exactly the same word, but they kind of mean the same thing. Okay? Next box is a sentence. I found a beautiful plume. This is where you write a sentence and you use the word in the sentence. Now don't forget about our sentence structure and how it has to have a capital letter, has to have punctuation, most importantly, it has to make sense, okay? And a subject and a verb. A sentence is a group of words that all come together and make those things happen. Last thing, and the most fun part of this word diagram, is you get to draw a picture of the word, okay? And this is where your name goes. So when you've completed your word, which will be one of these, either plume, forbid, fled, or crane, then go ahead and take a picture of it and post it on the activity page.